sick moment when a 12-mile Ironman race with no changes. So, I used to be able to come here a lot as a child. I do have a couple of suggestions on how you're going to go about this whole team here.
I like the first way you started to say it, how we are going to go about it.
I was a state representative for 8 years, and so I really had a lot of experience understanding how government does work. I would like to see this be more of a partnership with our elected officials and not adversarial, because we really need everyone to feel that we are together,
They're part of it.
so that we can be more powerful. With that said, as I mentioned in the Waianae Neighborhood Board meeting back in February, really the only person that can effectively change this project to what you folks want is the governor. And I highly suggest that this group go to meet with the governor amicably and tell them about your concerns, tell them about your frustrations. I don't even know if he knows the whole story. Sometimes people assume that people don't live our lives, so they don't see how many issues every minute is presented to us. And I can imagine at his level that he's maybe getting a small story that may not even be your story. So I highly suggest that while I think your petitions are effective to get attention, that you include the governor's office, but follow it up with an actual face-to-face meeting. We can feel your heart, we can feel your passion, and where you present your facts that he may have never heard yet. You'll be surprised how effective that is. Sometimes people see so far away from us, it's just that they don't know us. So I think that should be the first priority, because he's the only person right now that can disagree with the DOT director and change the course of action that's currently. Aside from that, as I reported to Mr. Frenzel, in the last OMBO meeting, I was very concerned about this issue. And so I made a motion at the OMBO meeting for us to direct the OMBO staff to finally start pricing out the Malama plan. I unfortunately do not have a lot of authority over where the bridge is. That is a state and federal government. But once it goes to the mountainside, that is where I have authority because it becomes city plan.
City county.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's city county land, and it becomes an official city county project, which we can get some federal funds for. What we have discovered since January 2nd, just a few months, is that this master plan and the Makaha route has never had engineers, real engineers, fully study a theory of the possible damage to the wetlands. And so that is part of the motion that I made, is that we start this process. OMBO has scheduled looking at the possible Makaha route in 2035. So the motion that we made at OMBO, and this includes city and state legislators, so representatives from the State House of Representatives, representatives from the State Senate, the City Council, which includes myself, as well as the Director of the Department of Transportation and the Director of the City Department of Transportation. So they voted unanimously to start this process. So that is a huge victory for this group, who was not going to be considered at all what you're talking about until 2035. So I think you should congratulate Mr. Frenzel and a lot of the members of the board departments. I met with Senator Shimaburo, and she is very sincere in trying to find a solution, but she is also frustrated that engineers who have studied these bridges are disagreeing with her. So I think she too would welcome a meeting with the governor at this this point that she has exhausted all of the options that she believed that she could pursue. After we find out how much it is to get the engineers to study, because luckily the city did do this master plan many years ago, and to be honest with you, it was never a site to ever be funded, because we had to dig under a lot of information just to get some information about this master plan. I met with the Parks Director also a week and a half ago, and she is excited that someone in the city finally wants to complete this plan. And so the strategy that I have taken so far, and I admit to you I have very limited information still. There has been no engineering study, as I mentioned before. My goal, no matter what the cost, I recognize that since the city is only given about $50 million a year to do community road projects like this, that I will have to find multiple entities to fund this project. We are currently looking at state, federal, and private nonprofits that are used currently now in Hawaii to save lands, which is to preserve ocean, shorelines, to preserve park areas, and to create open spaces for the public. We'll also be looking at federal money to help combine the park as well as, the reason why I'm looking to build everything together is because that is what we feel will give us the best maximum ability to combine multiple funding sources. Well, if we just use DOT, the Transportation Department, we will never do that. I'm never going to do that. So that's kind of where we have come in the last 2 months since we found out about this issue. We are very supportive of the community, and we want to do whatever we can to help this issue.
Players, I farmed that out multiple times to people, encouraging them to contact the key players. So, and please contact, I think, I agree with your assessment of Maui Shimabukuro. We've heard the assessment of Ms. Pine. Caruana has been totally off the net on this one. She has not answered an email, had a discussion, or anything. Joe Jordan is very definitive about her position. In the February neighborhood board meeting, she was asked by the chair to submit legislation, submit a bill, asking for the state to consider the Maui route, and she flatly refused. Any backers on that? I mean, that was her position. Her first position was, well, the legislative session is over. She was asked, no, consider it for next legislative session, and she said she would not, because of the safety issue with her constituents. So we can't proceed very easily without her on board. We need her on board. I think she can come on board. Welcome her on board, but she has to do a 180. Please contact her and prove me wrong. Ask her position. I hope she's changed. I hope I'm misinterpreting it, but we need her help. We need Caruana's help. I don't have hopes for the big pocket, deep pocket right guy to come in with the clout that we need, but I'm not going to give up on it. So in the short term, I've got to continue the community awareness campaign. We've got to go from the 3,000 we have now to 25,000. That's my hope. At least would like everyone in the Leeward community to know that we're trying to resurrect this and we're trying to stop this before ground and before the bid is even released. This summer, a bid will probably be released to a contractor to start work. We will protest all the way through the construction phase. The environmental assessment says that any time they run across EV, they have to stop. And that's why I'm afraid that their temporary route is going to probably take 2 to 3 years and not 16 months. So when they run into EV, or if they go and encroach on that certified shoreline, which skirts their project, I'm gonna go to DLNR or whoever to complain that they're outside their approved boundary.
Why don't you have Bill Isla involved in this now? He's not with us. Bill is not. He's another one on that
He-
conversation.
He has shown signs of adjusting his position
Well, that's good.
because
Last time I had a conversation.
he will tell you that a year ago, the state passed a bill, which passed through the midnight hours, with 11 bridges on it on Oahu. They're all wooden bridges, and they have approval to be fast-tracked through construction and not require a special management area permitting, any kind of special permitting. They are exempt. And the Makaha bridges 3 and 3A are number 1 and 2 on the list, 1 or 2 on the list. And he will say that because of that, the state can do whatever they want. Now, I take argument with that because this project started before that bill was approved, and I don't see how that can grandfather to an old project. But nevertheless, that's how I believe the state DOT probably put those bridges in the bill, and now we're stuck with it. But
That's how we got the building behind City Mill. You know, they ramrod things through that are against the law, but nobody is there to challenge them that they are doing something against the law. I mean, we do have a law out here. No building may be more than 4 stories tall anymore.
Now, the fact that, and the fact that these bridges 3 and 3A are on the state's priority list for replacement doesn't impress me a bit, because I go with Rosalind's argument, is they were built in 2006 to a very high standard, will last a long time, and to say they have to be replaced now is,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I want to know which contractor then do we sue to get the money back?
So Bill did suggest to the chairman, Johnny Mayperry, to ask Joe Jordan to write a bill to reconsider the Malka route. And he's positioned himself in a neutral, if not positive way. So I've seen some movement, and I think he's a potential helper on this. But he's also works for the governor, and he has to play to the governor's tune. So I understand that.
Well, that's how the governor, I mean, let me give you a couple of my business cards. The name is Rob.
Rodney? Okay, sorry.
You've got my phone numbers and everything there.
Okay, so, he's potentially available. But anyway, back to, it may seem, first of all, I got advice from, just to give you some perspective, from Friends of Kiwalos and the Surf Rider Foundation and Access Hawaii, Free Access Hawaii. Gave me advice based on their campaigns, and they said they did the phone calls, they did the petitions, and it wasn't until they went to the street with signs, and in particularly 400 of Friends of Kiwalos went over to the state capitol, all in red t-shirts, all with their signs and their slogan, and stood there, and it wasn't until then that they were heard and won their campaign. So we have to, taking a lesson from that, we have to be in the street. We have to show that this is serious enough to us, important enough to us, that we're actually going to spend time out of our day to spread the word, communicate this issue, not only in the community.
Then you need to go to Koala Basin and do it out where the public sees you. You're not going to get the response on this coast that they would get down in Koala Basin, okay? So, I mean, it's apples and oranges, and we've got to talk, if we're gonna talk apples, talk apples. If we're gonna talk oranges, talk oranges. But you can't mix the two. We have no fruit salad here.
Well, my point is, we had to get to a higher level of awareness.
We have to get to a much higher level than standing on the street on Fridays on the Waianae coast.
Can I make a comment as a legislator who was there?
Yeah.
It was very effective when they had one day where they all came in their red shirts and they lobbied different legislators. But you gotta do it before session ends the first week of May. No one's gonna be there except the governor after that. But it was very effective. That's not even my district, and I knew about it when I first came in.
And let me tell you, AARP does it all the time. We throw on our red shirts and walk into the Capitol and they go, oh my God, here's AARP.
You guys are really scary.
Hey, listen,
No,
we
watch
old-
out for
we
us.
old-
That's
we old fogies
been around.
Very scary.
It did to be scary. All the young kids better start listening to us.
Very
A
scary.
couple questions.
My understanding is this project, we have 25 million from the state for this project, right?
13 to 16 is federal.
Okay, from the federal and the state together. We have to fix 2 bridges. I think we can give and take. Let them do the first bridge, have everybody come around King Drive, while they're working on the first bridge. That would be the give part.
Sorry, they won't, all the
They won't
funding
alter it.
goes
We
to,
When we come to the table, we have to have some kind of ideas to give them about how we want this project to proceed.
you're not gonna change federal funding. That's all there is to it. If you haven't been around how they fund federally, they are not going to change the way the federal funding has come down right now. And all of it is gonna go in one lump sum, and if it doesn't all go to what they decided, it's going somewhere else, but it's not going to
That could be a
Waianae
talking
Coast.
point before we go to the final step and go to the Capitol with our signs. Because it's an environmental thing. Where's the Sierra Club in this?
They wouldn't call me back.
They've been asked.
Do we have to hold signs for Sierra Club? You know?
I think their lawyers are reviewing whether they want to get involved right now. They have to do their
I
due
don't think
diligence.
that's where they want to spend their funds.
Yeah, they have to do their due diligence too, because right now I'm just one crazy guy that can really.
Also, no.
That's why I'm saying give
But,
and take.
but Mona, Miley did with Lynn Akamoto over the last 3 weeks, try to say, how about you just take the first bridge, the important bridge, and go with it as is. And the second bridge, veer it off to the left towards the mountain direction and go from there in the future. But at least that's her compromise position.
The whole thing is not going on the beach, right? Because we
No,
don't want
I-
that asphalt on the beach.
That isn't the whole thing.
No, it's not the whole thing.
That's,
That's one of the most important
no,
things.
that's
It's-
Coquito.
Once they do this bridge project, once they change that bridge by my house, Bridge 3, the first bridge, once they turn that bridge into a 94-foot long bridge, the whole valley, and that's why I wanted to know, how much do you want me to bring to the table? I have proof the whole valley of Makaha will change, and all the people that live on the stream bed, all the way up to the golf course, our houses will all be underwater.
It'll be a flood zone.
We're gonna be the flood zone.
Yeah.
There will be no AEF floodway on the Kahina sign.
We have to bring information about loss of use of the beach. That's the whole important thing, and when we're doing
It
it.
isn't.
That's important to our community.
It is. It's
Because
very
you're not gonna be able to
It
use
isn't
the
the whole-
beach.
Because what's gonna happen is, all those homes up there, they're all gonna wash into the ocean. Because all you're gonna have is rubble. It's gonna be like Coloco Dam. I keep telling everybody. They gave us the maps. The DOT engineers gave us the maps. And we're sitting there going, they can't do that. And every time we asked in a hearing or in a committee meeting or anything, and we said, what is going to happen to the beach when this all comes down? Your bypass road with these Mickey Mouse culverts in the ditch, on the beach, they're gonna wash out. Where is all that rubble
We see that already
going?
from
On
the
the
beach
beach.
storms.
And they don't care. They go, oh no, the engineers will have to clean it up. I go, did they clean it up at Waimea Bay?
We
No.
did, people did.
Yeah, the people had to get out there and do it. Engineers didn't clean anything.
Cleaned up the beaches, so.
Been there. I've asked all the questions.
You get more flies than honey, right? So
Well,
You know,
I've
that's why I'm
tried.
saying, like
I
a
have-
give and take thing.
Believe me, I'm
And
trying.
that's part of the stuff that we have to take to the governor, I think. before we
Yeah,
go
well,
to
that's why I said,
signs.
how much information, what do the people need that we can influence them with? Because I have tons of information. It's what is going to work best. And
Let me, Roslyn, think about it, but I think you would be a great candidate for Makaha. You don't have to.
I will not be the head of anything anymore. I've done my time. I will be a fine
Spiritual
participant.
advisor. Okay. In lieu of the big guys, in preparation for getting with the governor, first of all, I don't think any of you guys would be here now if it wasn't for the petition campaign and to some degree the sign wheel. And that, I've got to have that continue because I need this to grow bigger. So I ask for your support in that. But we also, there's two things that we are going to ask, and that is that when I say us, it might be the neighborhood board, I hope, it might be Malama Makaha, it might be our representatives. I would like to ask them to do a fair reevaluation of the two bridges that they say are about to fall apart. If they're reevaluated, I think it's going to show that they have life left in them. And my personal opinion is I'd rather see this project go away than to have it go in as scheduled. If it goes away, that buys us time to go the pragmatic route for this. And maybe have a cooperative between the state and city and county, etc. But so I don't see it as failure on anybody's part. I see it as a win-win if the DOT project were to lose its funding. No, yeah. If it doesn't lose its funding, it's going
I need
in.
a line item to exist for 4 or 5 years.
Okay, all right.
So that I can
That's different.
have funding, because how it works with federal, state, city money. You only get funding in
Okay,
certain years, right? So keep the line item in there for budget funding purposes.
Okay.
Change the name of the line item.
Okay.
Alter.
No, I agree.
can I have a question? You had that meeting with Brian, the
Right on, yeah, Brian. Gibson.
He said something about there could possibly be a way to go to the Opco Finance Committee.
Policy.
The policy committee, and like freeze those funds, or something. Now, I don't understand
If that's what
politics.
he wants, to make that happen.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. I'm still learning.
Okay, well, see, that's why I don't understand it either. And as soon as he said it, I said, "Let's freeze the funds, and they can't do
Well,
it,
the
then we
same
can put the money
policy committee
there."
is the one that I'm on, that they made a motion to start, to direct Brian to start this process now for the common out. So I'll call Brian.
Yeah, and ask him, because we didn't go on, and he said, well, I don't think that'll ever happen, and I went, why not, if that's what the people want?
40 years ago,
On the
we were
28th.
sure that we could get a second road out of
And I-
Waianae too.
Hey,
And
been there,
Alpo-
done that one.
And Alpo said,
28th
no
February, we had a
problem.
meeting up here with Oppo. Brian Gibson.
So we have a meeting.
Sorry, meeting.
Yeah,
Oh, he was freaked out when I made that motion,
no, you had already done it, I think it had already been done.
Oh, okay.
Could we get the Army Corps of Engineers involved with evaluating the bridges?
I don't know how to do that, but I think it's a good idea. I would like a third party to do evaluating.
Because it's federal, it concerns them going to and from a
It
court.
does, and yes, I'll write that down. I don't know how to make it happen. I have asked the Army Corps of Engineers to get involved in things like this before. I'll just write it down.
Yeah, it takes a long time to get things like that done. About 10 years ago, we asked the waters out here off of Waianae be evaluated for hazardous materials from all the arms that were dumped. It's taken 10 years. And right now, with the way that the military funding is being held up, it's not going to be too terribly easy to get Corps of Engineering involved. They're going to be spending their money where they've already promised to spend their money.
Well, I'm wondering also with the tracking station, the Makaha, the Army, going back to
Right.
the bridges, I think that would give us a little bit of cover.
Doesn't give us a damn bit. My husband works up there.
Can I just tell you guys from my perspective, I've been reading a bit of sharing
I think
this information that has been given to me, that research has been done by engineers, and that these bridges are dangerous and need to be. I found out for the first time that they currently already fixed it in 2006. So as a legislator, getting a third opinion helps me to make a better decision. I don't know how to do that. I don't think this area.
I really
It's
think
very
we need to
confusing.
get the old engineer's report to have it in hand as well, though.
Well,
Because
see, they did this study, what was it,
1997.
1997.
And that's what they went on.
25 years ago.
Yeah.
That's short time.
I'm talking about the bridges and what I wish they will.
Yeah, because they rebuilt them in 2006.
If we had a third-party opinion, then you and the representatives can sleep at night without worrying about liability. I respect that.
We need DOT's opinion as to how well they were done in 2006. That's the report I want to see.